In high school, you think of English as a subject you have to study, just like you study math, history, or science. You study grammar and vocabulary to improve your English knowledge. But actually, knowledge of English is basic. What you learn when you join the Eibeigo Gakka is how to use English to communicate about the world. Listen to our fourth-year students using English to talk about the world.
In Japan, women are regarded as not important without leadership ability. So women feel less motivated for their job.
According to the data of WHO in 2017, Japan is ranked the number 13th in the world for suicide.
In the world, there are 16 million refugees, but Japan takes less than 1%. Why Japan doesn't take more?
In Japan, the media is trying to avoid telling the truth about what's happening in Japan. Instead of giving us the information we need, they give us like gossip, things that we don't need.
In Japan, child abuse is social issues. There are 4 kinds of child abuse in Japan. Number 1 is psychological, number 2 is physical, number 3 is neglect, number 4 is sexual. There were 133,000 cases in Japan last year.
Nuclear power in Japan, which is a really serious problem right now, but nobody cares because the accident in Fukushima was a few years ago and the media is talking nonsense about it. Nobody knows what's really happening there. I think the government is not being honest with us.
One recent problem that we have in Japan is that there's so many open houses.
There's about 8 million open house in Japan, or abandoned house as they say, which is a lot. That's about 14% of all the houses in Japan. And what caught my attention is that there are people using those abandoned places to cultivate cannabis, and which is illegal in Japan. So I think the government should do something about this.
And I was talking about this topic with my dad last night, and one of the ideas that we can do towards this problem is raising the property taxes.
Recently, I've been studying about Syrian civil war. Assad regime is fighting against the rebels, and Russia is helping Assad, while America is helping the rebels.
So America is a big Christian country, and there are 2 types of them, Catholic and evangelicals. Even though USA supports LGBT, evangelicals are against LGBT and abortion. And this surprised me because I thought people in America have wider view to look at things like this compared to Japanese, but apparently that is not the case, and it's kind of disappointing me a little bit, maybe.
Did you know that the thousands of refugees are moving towards America from Central America? Many people in Central America are suffering from poverty. The increase of the refugees is one of the reasons why the American President Donald Trump is trying to build a wall on the Mexico border. Japanese don't know much about why Trump is doing such a bad things to Mexico, so we need to search for more information about the Mexico and those 4 countries and keep up with the news about them.
I have been studying about the Ukraine, and there is a big conflict between east side and west side of Ukraine right now. It's been happening since 2014. However, we haven't heard about the conflict in Japan. So that is the problem of media, I think. We have to pay attention to the problem in Ukraine because it involves Russia, and we have to watch Russia really carefully.
Our Eibeigo Gakka students speak English. How about you? What kind of things could you talk about? How good is your English going to be 4 years from now? Eibeigo Gakka. Using English to communicate about the world.